everyone, and a warm welcome back once again to the DrMBalmer channel. So, in the first part of the GTX 960 overclocking, we established a baseline score, or a couple of baseline scores actually. One with the power limit maxed out at 108%. And we saw actual gains there, so it's a good start. However, as I mentioned in that first part, the idea is to repaste this card, do a teardown and repaste, and see what, if any, gains we can get from that. I have the graphics card, I have a Noctua syringe with a thermal interface material here, and a little spatula. So there are not much more to it than to get started, I think. We have a few screws here, so I will keep the card oriented this way, and I will start to unscrew the screws. And for that I will need, oops, I lost some light. That's okay, I think. Let's see here. Could this be a good screwdriver? So let's start with this is maybe, yeah, it's okay. So and I will place them in this magnetic bowl here, approximately in the places that they were installed. So yeah, I will continue. So this one is there. This one is there. Let's see how many screws we need to unscrew. And then we have one here. At the bottom there. Let's see here. What else? We have, of course, these screws, but what about yeah, unscrewing the front panel. So let's try to refocus a bit. Front panel screws can be here. Seems to be 3 of them. This one is shorter and these ones are longer. Do I have to undo it? I don't know. Maybe. So, having undone that, this little thingy unscrews. And yeah, I have to also unscrew this one. So let's do that. Okay, so it will be there. Something like that. And now let's unscrew these 4 screws holding around the GPU itself. So this one was there. The tamper-proof sticker is on here, but we'll fix that problem. This one was there. Something like that. Let's see if we can get this off. Oh yeah, we got it off. But there are some cables, at least one. Yes. So I will move this a bit. Maybe we can simply do it like this. I mean, there's not much dust inside of this, and yeah, we don't have any direct cooling for any direct contact for the cooling of the memory chips, but air from the fans will of course get through these fins and hit the memory modules. So yeah, it looks like a fairly clean card. We have a heatsink here as well, and maybe for some VRMs here or something. But yeah, let's clean up the die. I will fetch some isopropyl alcohol. One moment. Alright, I have fetched some isopropyl alcohol. So I also fixed the lighting a bit. I connected the light to a power bank, but let's see how well that works. My power bank is running out of steam as well. So yeah, let's use some of this. And maybe zoom in a little bit. And just carefully dissolve the paste. Something like that. Let's see what it says. I will have to adjust the camera a little bit for this to work. So it says GM208 300A1. Okay. And now let's try to apply some new paste. And what's important with regard to GPU repastes is that we need to try to get an even spread, and every little corner of this die should be covered, because otherwise we'll get a hot spot which will not do us any good. So it's better to take a large enough blob, and then we'll try to smear it out. see if we can cover the entire die. So I have some paste on this end of it. So in this direction, I believe it's fine. Let's see if we can also cover everything in this opposite direction. Yeah, I think this might be good. Let's have a closer look, shall we? So yeah, let's have a look here. Ooh, let's see here. Yeah, there's a little bit in this corner that isn't covered, so I'll try to fix that, because a little corner like that can make all the difference when you're doing direct die cooling, which GPU cooling of this type is. So like that, I think. Oops, sorry, we stayed out of shot. I just fixed the corner here. Let's try to have a closer look at it again. Yeah, and then the imperfections here, the little valleys and mountains here, they will squeeze out once we reattach the cooler. Okay, that looks nice. Now let's zoom out, and we need to clean this side as well over here. So I will fetch the I'll just clean this spatula off. And fetch a little bit more of this alcohol. And clean this off. Yeah, the paste is pretty dry, but the alcohol is doing a good job of removing and dissolving everything. Okay, we can push everything that way. Okay, fair enough, I think. So, yeah, this was a pretty simple card to disassemble, and the fans, if you need to disassemble them, there are some screws here beneath the fan blades that I believe you should unscrew, maybe, to get the shroud off. But currently we don't need to do that, and there's not much dust to remove either, so yeah, it's all good. Let's try to reassemble this then. So these should fit in these holes. like that, maybe. And let's reattach the screws holding the GPU around the GPU first. So having it turned this way, I will start with the warranty void sticker screw, which was here, and I will try to first rotate counterclockwise to get into a thread until I click there, and now I can start. And I will just do a couple of rotations first, and then I go to the opposite diagonal side. Let's see here. Oops. Over here and go counterclockwise like that, and then a couple of rotations, and then we can go continue that way. And the fourth screw. And then we will apply one rotation or so in the same pattern. So I go 1, and then I go here 1, 1, and 1. Hopefully this is to even out the pressure so that the mount will be applying an even pressure on the die itself. So yeah, I believe this should be it. Everything seems to be attached. Okay, so the interesting part now is will it work still, and what will the temperatures and clock frequencies be like. So yeah, this was the teardown of the GTX 960 from MSI, the MSI gaming GTX 960 gaming 2GB. So I will reinstall it in the system, and we shall turn the system on and find out what we have done, for better or worse. So follow along. So the repaste has been done, and the card has been installed back in the system. The fans are not spinning, but they did just recently when I started the system up. The system is running, and well, so far so good, but what are the results? So first of all, let's find that out. See if it did anything for better or worse. We don't know yet. But in EVGA precision, we can see that we are still at 108 power offset, and everything else default, so let's keep it at that. I've started GPU Z and Firmark. So the plan is to see if the temperature and the hotspot and stuff and the clocks seem to be okay after we repaste. To see if we have a good paste application and mounting pressure. So let's start GPU stress test maybe. Like this, and let's focus on some values here. We see the temperature, the clock, currently 1330 megahertz. And the temperature is rising, but the fan speed is at 0%. Current perf cap reason is power. So yeah, we can't increase the power more than to 108%. But still. So if I'm not mistaken, previously we had GPU temperature of about 80 something with a hotspot of 89 maybe. So let's see where we end up now after a couple of minutes. A minute or two has passed, and we can see that we're at about 103 to 108 TDP, and yeah, the clocks are a bit higher, even at the full load. And the hotspot is only at 70 degrees, 71, 72. The GPU temperature is at 62. So the repaste did some massive, actually really massive change here. So repasting an old card, I mean, instead of topping out at about 89 degrees, I believe, on the hotspot, maybe, and 83 or something on the GPU, or was it 85 maybe, with a bit lower clocks, I believe, under 1300 if I'm not mistaken, and this is with the 108% power as well, so it's very good. I mean, that's 20 degrees Celsius lower on the GPU in that case. And I used the standard Noctua NTH1, is it called? Thermal paste Yeah, I remember the exact name of it. But you saw it previously in the video. So yeah, we seem to have sort of stabilized here, and this is a great start because it will allow us to run the card cooler and at higher clocks, hopefully. So yeah. And the fan speed stays at 35%. I believe the fan is ramped up quite high previously as well. So despite a lower RPM, we have 20 degrees lower temperature as well, which is very good actually. So that's a great start. Let's run some testing to see if this makes any difference out of the box, so to speak, or after a repaste immediately. So let's start the 1080, and let's take a minute, so pause and then return once it's almost finished. The test is finishing now, so oh, I forgot to fasten my microphone on me, sorry for that. Yeah, so we ran a firmware test here, and let's see how many points we get. 2544, 43 FPS. Max GPU temp 64. If I'm not mistaken, that is higher by quite a margin, maybe. Let's find out. So 2544 is the new score. Still sort of stock, only with the power limit maxed to 108%. 2511 we got with the power also at 108%, but before the repaste, and that was actually lower than the 2517 that we got on our initial stock run with the power limit set to 100%. And maybe this is due to temperature conditions, perhaps. We increased the power, but the cooling couldn't handle it because the paste was old. Maybe. So we didn't see an uplift. Instead we saw performance degradation, at least in firmware, which is a very taxing load, of course. But now, yeah, 2544. That's actually a measurable difference. And 2444, so yeah, great. Let's run the 3D Mark benches, starting with Firestrike. Okay, scores have arrived. So 5869. Let's have a look. I have a feeling that score is exactly the same we got before repaste and all, but let's compare. So I have entered the numbers, and yeah, it was the exact same overall score, 5869, but we achieved it in a little bit different way. Previously we had a GPU score of 7576, so we're a little bit lower on GPU actually, but it's within variance maybe. Physics score was higher though. Combined score was exactly the same at 2310. So interesting for sure, but also I know that Timespy is a more taxing load than Firestrike, so let's try that one. Okay, so 2227. Let me lower the fan noise after having run this. I believe that is lower than our previous maximum so far. We haven't done too many runs yet, but maybe within variance, run-to-run variance. Let's see here, 960. So Timespy, yeah. So here we did a repaste, and we're still at the 108 power limit, and the other numbers there are from the 950. 2233, yeah. So now 2227. It's about the value we got at stock. Oh, GPU 7. GPU 2243. CPU 2141. So yeah, a bit lower on the CPU and the GPU actually. Higher than the stock run, but lower on the CPU. So I mean the CPU, yeah, it can vary a bit, but we're fairly stable. But okay, all we did was a repaste, so but at least we have lower temperatures, and I see that on the video card itself, because the fans did not spin in the first graphics test at all for Timespy. They only started spinning in the second test halfway in, so yeah, great. So now we can commence the actual overclocking bit. Now yeah, let's bring up precision and see what we can do there. So pin the taskbar maybe. We'll see how we did previously. So we started off on the 950 with the maxing the power limit, which we have done now, and then applying 100 on the core. Okay, yeah, that's that should give a decent bump maybe to start off, and it should be, hopefully it should be stable enough. So let's do that, and we will compare then. So 100 on the core. Let's start off by increasing the core by 100. Apply, save. Voltage, I don't know if it does anything. I can't seem to, yeah. 100 millivolts, but I don't know if it actually does anything. We can try to set it, but on the 950 it didn't stick, so we'll see if it sticks. Now let's focus on the core and do a rerun of Timespy and Firestrike. So let's start 3D Mark. Starting with the Firestrike as usual. Alright, the scores are in, and I saw on the FPS counter that we got a lot of frames. So a lot more than on the previous runs. The score is excellent, according to 3D Mark. And yeah, 6060. That's not bad actually. We passed the 6,000 points barrier. So let's compare the numbers a bit. So yeah, comparing the 960 scores, this would match the 950 scores here. We got 6,060 instead of 5,294. GPU score, 7951, which is a huge jump, 400 points almost. Physics score is well, in the same range that we had previously, about a little lower than the previous run. Combined score 2345, highest so far on this configuration. Compared to the 950 scores, yeah, we can see there are higher scores across the board. So yeah, now we can delete that one from here. 6060. Let's see where that places us on the Hall of Fame. So let's Firestrike scores, yes, 6060. There we are. 10th of November. So placed 35. That's a huge jump. Last time 5869, I believe, something like that. Yeah, that was 90th place, shared with the 89th. So yeah, that was a huge. What was it, 35th? Yeah. So 6060, and to beat number one we have to be at 6404. It seems reachable suddenly, but I don't know how far the core clock will scale, of course. But yeah, that was great. Let's continue with let's see here, the Timespy. Okay, we seem to have run into an issue on the CPU test suddenly. So that's not good. Maybe I forgot to spin up the fans. Maybe we have some overheating issue. But the numbers looked fine on the first two tests. So let's run this again, but I will increase the fan speed. We didn't have such problems before increasing the core on the GPU though, and it crashed on the CPU test, so but the fans weren't spinning at maximum, and we have quite an overclock and a voltage increase, so maybe we are a bit on the hot side of things. Let's do a rerun and see where we end up. So let's see here, 2233 we got, 2331. Oh, that's almost 100 points increase, so that is excellent. The best score is 2432, sorry. So we're 101 points away. Great. Let's try to compare the numbers a bit. So here we can see that we increased from 2227, it says. I thought we had 2233 sometime, but yeah, there we have it. Yeah, sorry. So 2331, GPU is 2371, which is a huge jump, and compared to the 950 scores on similar settings, we're quite far ahead. CPU score 2131. So yeah, I can remove that 950 score, and let's do a comparison online. Okay, so Timespy 2331. Okay, we have a shared 6th place, 7th place here. That's top 10 already. Of course, I don't know how much headroom we have on the core, but yeah, Timespy top 10 on our first runs here, so that's not bad. That's very good actually, and we're almost at 6th place, so we need to beat 2432. That will be interesting. But yeah, so far so good. So great. Let's continue with the core. So today is a new day, and yeah, I think that we're onto something here. So in this part, I think we shall continue with the core overclocking, and then maybe in the next part we'll turn to memory overclocking. Right. So yes, 6060 points we got with a 108% power limit and 100 megahertz core offset. And from the old 950 scores, we can see the next step was 150 core, so we shall follow this, I believe, pretty closely, and then see if we can, how far we get, basically. It's not for sure that we will reach 195 or 200 on the core, but we increased by 100, so now let's increase by 50 and see what that results in. So currently we're at 100 offset, and let's set 150. And also we know that Timespy will probably complain before Firestrike does. So that will also be interesting to see those differences. So yeah, 150 on the core. Great. Let's first run a Fairmark and see what we get there. It's sort of an interesting baseline. Oh, I started 3D Mark, of course. Okay, let's run 3D Mark first then. Yeah, so starting 3D Mark, I got a blue screen, which I didn't get on video. The error code was memory management. So I suspect that either the memory voltage is off a little bit, or the north bridge voltage is off by a little bit. So we were at 1.6 on the memory. Let's increase to 1605. 165. Maybe see if actually an increase will help or not. Maybe we need to lower the voltage, but I will try this and we'll see if we get another blue screen or not. It could be the north bridge memory controller, of course, as well. But let's play around a little bit. Okay, so we have rebooted, and so far so good. I started Fairmark this time then. Let's run it and do the 1080 preset and basically see where we end up. So it's warming up. I will pause momentarily and launch the video again once the test is almost finished. Oh, but we didn't get that far. We actually got unexpected error. That's interesting. So is it the 150 core that's the problem? Let's try to lower the voltage from 1.6 to maybe 1.59, just to see if that might be the issue. Alright, we're back in Windows, still at 150. So let's try it. I don't think that the issue we got, the BSOD, that it was CPU related or GPU related. But on the other hand, IRQL not less or equal. That seems like a well, I'm still suspecting memory, but 1.6 volts should be good. So 1.6, maybe increase the memory controller to 0.13, 125. Okay, because 1.6 volts I believe worked fine on the 950 with an even higher system overclock and higher memory frequency, so it shouldn't be the issue. Maybe the 150 core is the issue. Let's try this again, shall we? Okay, a new try then. Let's see if the north bridge voltage increase made any difference. I mean, maybe if Fairmark doesn't run, maybe it's enough. 150 core would work for for the Firestrike and Timespy maybe. So yeah, but now we're actually running. Ooh, it looks like we might finish the run. Okay. So what do we get? Oh. K mode exception not handled. So something is a bit off. But we actually managed to run the entire run. So okay, so of course the only thing we changed before this error occurred was the North Bridge, sorry, the GPU core. So what's the next step up then? 1.32. Oh, 1.32. Oh, 1.3. Oh, sorry, 0.132. 13750. Let's try that, and yeah, the DRAM voltage, no, but let's try it, because we actually managed to get a run. So back in Windows, let's try this. I mean, last time we got the error after the run was finished, which is interesting because the GPU would have been idle, one would assume. So current GPU temperature is 59, 60 degrees. So we're not very interesting. And the run is finishing. Let's zoom in. No. Attempted write to read-only memory. So it happens after a full load scenario. That is odd. So going idle. What about 1.61? Will that make things better or worse? So just to try this, let me just go to 125 on the core, apply and save, and then oh, Steam update. Okay, so Steam stopped working. Actually, let's open Precision again and go back to a 100 core. I can't believe that that should be actually Yeah, maybe I need to ramp the fans up a bit. But let's run Firemark on the 100 core. Let's see what happens. So 2586 points, is it? Yes, no error this time. Okay. 2586. Sure. No crashing. But this was on 100. So let's try 125. Maybe it is the, but it's strange. Okay, 125, and I shall ramp up the fans. Maybe we are overheating on the CPU. Okay, I have turned up the fans on the CPU to max. Let's run at the 125 core on the GPU and see if that works. So it takes about a minute. The GPU isn't getting hot, so yet. So temperature is increasing, but 63 degrees currently. So it shouldn't be that. Unless 150 offset in the core made the whole system unstable. But we'll try 125 now. And then so 2608 points. That's an increase, I believe, and no crashing yet. I will submit and we'll compare the numbers. Okay, 2608 is pretty good. Let me just lower the fan noise a bit. Yes. So 2608. This is with the 125 core offset, and stock with the read paste was 2544. But I see that we didn't do a Firemark, or I didn't record the Firemark for 100 core offset. But okay, Firemark we can, yeah, I can do a rerun later. So 2544 and now 2608, which is very good. So let's run 3DMark instead. Right, now in 3DMark then, let's start with Firestrike as usual. And see if it will run or if it will crash or something. I mean, we got some very interesting crashes on the 150 core, but yeah, let's have a run. So 6125, and I believe that is, oops, higher. 6125. Let me bring up my notepad and we shall compare. Yeah, so sorry still for the fan noise. We'll run Timespy. I won't bother to lower it right now, but 6125, that is a new best for us. So we had 6060 on the 100 core offset, and we didn't crash, and we got 6125 now, which is quite an uplift, like 65 points. GPU, we have passed the 8000 point barrier with the 8080. Physics increased 30 points. Combined score increased 5 points. So yeah, that's awesome. For Firestrike, let's compare the results online. Okay, Firestrike GTX 960. So what did we get? 61 something. 25. Yes, we're placed 21st now. And we were at, I believe, 35 or something. Yes, now 36th, because we moved ourselves down a bit. So, yeah, from 36th to 20... let's see here. 21st. Yeah, and we're actually sharing the spot with the number 20th. That is a score from Jayer by 2, something like that, from 2015, November 25th, and today is November 12th, only 2023. So if we compare, we have let's see here, what do we have here? We have CPU core clock and CPU memory clock, and GPU core clock and GPU memory clock, and I have CPU clock on the left here. So CPU core mem. So let's see here. CPU 4455. We're approximately at the same CPU frequency. GPU core 1467, and that one had 1360, but it had a lot higher memory frequency. We're only at 1753 currently, since we're focusing on the core first. So maybe memory overclocking will give us some gains. And 1467, oops, that is not what I wanted to do. No. 1455, 1504, someone did get a run on 1504, but it doesn't seem like too many people have managed to get a core clock a lot higher than 1500 megahertz, so maybe 150 core offset is pretty high for these cards. So I don't have any previous overclocking experience with the 960, so, but it seems like that might be the case. So the 150 core might have caused our blue screens, maybe, and perhaps the 108 power offset maximum or power limit might be to blame for that. But anyway, yeah, that's great. Still, so place 21st. Let's run Timespy and see if that works on a 125 core. So going for Timespy. Okay, the scores are in. 2352. 2352. Hang on a minute. Yeah, I believe our previous best score was 2331. Let's have a look. So I have entered the numbers, and yeah, we increased by 21 points on the overall score from 2331 to 2352, and our stock run was 2226. So I increased like 126 points. So that's nice. The graphics score is 2394. Let's see if we can break the 2400 barrier. CPU 2144. So we're still scaling up on the CPU as well, even though we haven't touched the clocks for that one yet. So yeah, sorry, 125 core. We didn't have such a core clock on the 950, but it seems that we won't reach 150 on the 960 card. 150 core offset on the GTX 960, that is. Since I believe the instability was caused by the core after all. It's very strange, but maybe, yeah. Since the crashing was happening after firmware was finished, but anyway. Yeah, let's compare that online. I believe we were placed on 6th previously, so in Timespy. So yeah, maximum is 2432 it says, and we're at 2352. So it's less than 100 points to reach the best score in 3DMark Hall of Fame. So let's have a look. Okay, so Timespy, GTX 960, 7850K CPU, and what did we have? Yes, we have 2352. So oh, we were placed 7th maybe. Oh yeah, we had the same score, 2331, as someone placed 6th. So we were 7th. But now we are 2352, so placed 5th. 2390 is the next step up, 2395, and then someone got 2426 and 2432. But GPU core clock 1518, 1550, we're at 1467. Oops, sorry. So from all the scores up from here, north from 5th place, have higher core. So let's do increase the core a little bit to maybe, so 150 might be unstable, right? Let's do 135 maybe. So that's that should be an increase. So 135. Yes. And let's start with Firestrike, I believe. As usual, it should be less taxing, so maybe if it's unstable, then maybe Firestrike can do it for us. If Timespy does not. Okay, run has finished and we got 6120, and that is higher, I believe, right? Let's have a look. Actually, it's lower. 6120. We had 6125. It's almost run-to-run variance. Maybe we're getting had a bad run, but the GPU score was the lower one. Actually, the physics score and combined score both increased a bit. So that's a bit unfortunate, but we know from the 950 as well that not every core increase, for instance, means automatically a higher score. And maybe we're lacking a bit in memory bandwidth. I believe, don't quote me on this one, but maybe Firestrike was a bit memory dependent. But let's see how Timespy likes this instead. So maybe it likes core clock more. Yeah, a little bit lower score on Firestrike, but not to worry too much yet. As far as I'm concerned, I think we're still on a good path here. Okay, scores are incoming. 2357. And hang on here. Let's have a look. 2357. Yeah, actually, Timespy did see the increase. 2357. That's 5 points higher, and we actually reached a 2400 GPU score. I want to see how that compares to the other results in the list, and what our GPU frequency on the core turned out to be now. So 2357. Yeah, we still have quite a bit to go to reach the 4th place, but yeah, we did actually increase from 1467 to 1477 on the core. So yeah, so far we're actually on the same frequency as number 4 here on the list, but our memory frequency is lower. Maybe these had some better chip quality or exotic cooling, or done some voltage modding or something to reach these heights, but we'll see how close to it we can get. So yeah, the CPU clock is, however, a lot higher for us than the other ones on the list, so Timespy doesn't seem to be too dependent on the CPU. Maybe first it seems to rely on memory and GPU memory and the core. So we got 2400 on graphics score, and these ones got a little higher. Yeah, So maybe an increase on the memory will help us out. The CPU score is 2143 for us, and the other ones are lower. So yeah, I'm a bit interested actually to try. So 135. How about 145? 145. Will that in some way help us, or will we start crashing? So let's try the Firestrike. $61.31. So what did we have previously? Let's find out. Yeah, I'm entering the scores here. 145. Yes, so 61.31 is higher. It's actually 6 points higher than the 125 score we got, and then we regressed a bit, but then we came back up again. So this is our best score in Firestrike for now. GPU 8083. So we're back 3 points over our best previously. Physics score dropped a little bit, 10 points from the previous run at 135 core, but physics score should be more dependent on the CPU, of course. Combined score is within variance, run-to-run variance, I would say. And now we're actually closing in on the 150 offset here for 950, at which point we got a overall score of 5404, GPU 6962, physics 4915, and combined 2137. So that's where we're at, 6131. Did that give us any new position in the Hall of Fame? Let's have a look. 6131. Okay, so we were at 21st place, now we're past this J or something. And we got 6131, so 20th place, top 20. And yeah, GPU score is a bit lower, I suspect. Maybe for Firestrike we can run a lot higher than 150 core offset, which didn't really work at Furmark. I don't know. So the GPU clock was 1486, which is higher than the other ones here, but we're still low on the memory. 1486, so we're closing in on 1500 on the GPU core clock, but let's see if that actually works. 1504 we'll see here. Someone got, so 6404. Yes, but the interesting part is that if we take the 950, we got 6014, so we're not all that distant yet from that one. But there we had let's see here, we had a GPU core clock of 1543 and GPU memory 2093. Of course, a CPU clock of 4563, which was higher. So we're not on that BIOS profile setting yet. So bear with me, we will get there sooner or later. But 6131 is a higher score, so that's awesome. let's go for Timespy and see if it can handle this core clock of 145 offset. Scores are incoming. So we had 2357, I believe. Oh yeah, 2371. That is an increase. So Timespy really liked the core clock increase here. 2371, and the best is 2432. So we are closing in quite a bit. Let's bring up the 3D Mark and Notepad and see here Timespy. So I will copy this row. Let me just adjust the fan speed a bit. Alright, so 145 core, 2371, GPU 2416, CPU 2145. So yeah, the real increase of course happened in the 16 points on the GPU, which Timespy really liked. So yeah, I really wonder on the 150 if it will crash like on Furmark or not, but okay, so we're closing in 2357 to 2371. So let's have a look online. Okay, 2371. We haven't advanced in the listing here, but still 5th place now. 2390 is the next step we have to reach. But yeah, CPU clock is higher than all of those above. The GPU core clock is higher than the one placed 4th, so that's good at least. Only the memory clock is lower, so we will have to see what that does, but that's something on the list to do. CPU score is higher than all of those above. Graphics score is lower, 2493 graphics score. The one placed 4th got it, and 2659 is the highest graphics score. And that must be quite a bit more effort than what we have done so far to get there. So yeah, Funky Dunk is the next one on the list to beat. So yeah, this video is quite long. It's already we have done a GPU teardown and repaste and compared scores after that, and then we have seen some BSODs and increased the core offset from 100 to 145 at least for Firestrike and Timespy. And we have advanced in the Hall of Fame here results table on 3D Mark for both Timespy and I believe Firestrike as well. Yeah, yeah. I mean Firestrike, yes, for sure. But Timespy, I think we were. So November 12th, November 10th. Yeah, 2331 we started at on overall score, and now we are at 2371. So yeah. But yeah, so this video is pretty long, and if you are as excited as I am to see, first of all, what will happen when we reach when we try 150 offset on the core, and if possible above, will we crash at 150 offset in Firestrike and or Timespy, or will we be able to continue our core overclocking, or will we have to resort to VRAM overclocking? So that will be very interesting to see. So that will be part 3, since this is part 2, and yeah, very exciting, and I really enjoy this. Together we will do it, I'm sure. So and then we'll also have, don't forget that we have, we're not running the system with the RAM, system RAM and CPU at the max settings. We don't have the highest BIOS profile loaded yet. So that's also something upcoming. So look forward to all of that, and I want to thank you everyone for your interest in this and my other videos. And I will see you all in the next video. So thanks so much for watching. Bye bye for now.